We announced today the kind of public availability of something called ARC, which is what we call an economic OS for the internet. It's a blockchain network, so it's network infrastructure that's designed to bring financial and economic activity natively on the internet. And we announced this alongside, well over 100 major companies and projects that span the banking sector, capital markets, large technology, AI companies, payment companies.
Goldman Sachs, Visa, MasterCard, Anthropic.
Yes.
What are they doing with this technology?
Well, so I think what's happening now that we've started to get more improvement in this technology is that major financial firms, major technology firms see this as a way to migrate existing ways that they've done things to be more natively built on the internet. And we need this new kind of infrastructure to do that, whether it's supporting how capital market functions work or how credit is delivered or how payment systems work. All of these are activities that have existed separated from the internet world and are now migrating into these sort of smart contracts based systems. And so
they're going to use your blockchain and they're going to do better payments, for instance.
So
is that what you mean?
Payments is a great application. And so stablecoin money as a way to do payments, or as a way, for example, to do foreign exchange or to do lending or to do agentic commerce or agentic payments. There are so many different parts of the financial system, and we typically think about storing and moving money because obviously we're quite significant in that with USDC and stablecoins, but more and more, it's actually about the other building blocks of the financial system. It's the actual trading markets, the exchange markets, collateral, financial contracts that exist between firms. So more and more of the financial guts of the way the economy works is going to actually move onto the internet. And ARC represents a new operating system, in a sense, for that activity. And again, we've designed it with the specific needs of these mainstream scale companies in mind, and that's what's attracting them to collaborate with us. Global demand for USDC continue, and actually the majority of our business is global. And we've seen emerging market demand growing very significantly as well. And what's really interesting is that whether you're in the Middle East and you're transacting with Africa or parts of Southeast Asia, or you're dealing with Europe and other places, the ability to move money quickly, efficiently, cost effectively, directly in these markets is really powerful. We're seeing that in many cases, like businesses, they want to just settle in dollars. They want to use digital dollars as a way to do that and avoid some of the complexity and costs of their local banking systems and infrastructure. And so Middle East actually is an area where we see a lot of growth happening. We're obviously setting up regulated operations out of UAE, but we see the demand coming from across the region. And there are major markets where stablecoins are very significant in the region as well. And so I think it's a powerful market, and I expect it to continue to be a very significant growth market in the stablecoin space.
So overall, what USDC market cap is around, where are we, 36?
76.
76, sorry,
Yeah,
$76
right.
billion.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's had tremendous growth. It's kind of been there for last few months, right?
So actually, no, it's continued to grow quite rapidly. I think, we've actually seen acceleration since the Genius Act passed that sort of enshrined in law this sort of way of operating, and we've seen nearly 100% annual growth in this, and so I think it is dynamic and growing, and I think obviously there's tailwinds in terms of the kind of companies that are getting involved in this, the kind of people who are trying to build this into their own infrastructure, and then more and more governments around the world are actually getting on board and creating laws that allow this to work within their financial sectors.
The Fed flying blind into tomorrow's rate decision, the market pricing in near certainty for a quarter-point cut, even with no official jobs data, thanks to the nearly month-long government shutdown. But there is piecemeal evidence of an employment market under some pressure. Amazon today officially announcing it is cutting 14,000 jobs. UPS saying it slashed payrolls by 48,000 this year. They join names like Target, Meta, Starbucks, and more who've culled their workforces. The market's betting those job cuts are enough to prompt Fed cuts through the end of the year. Major indices setting intraday records today yet again. So is that the right read on the headlines? I mean, but we've also heard from JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon, who basically has told managers not to hire people. Let's see how AI impacts every part of our business, because we know we're implementing AI in every part of our business. Maybe we can do more with less. So this doesn't really bode well for job seekers.
No, definitely not. And again, I'm one of the people that think incorrectly, but I think the unemployment rate's going to move in a measurable fashion higher over the next couple quarters, and we will get data at some point. And people will say that's a good thing for the market because it puts the Fed in play. There are some people, by the way, that think there's a chance for 50 basis points of cuts tomorrow. I am not one of those people. With all that said, we're in the sweet spot now where job losses and the unemployment rate ticking higher is a good thing. At some point, though, that pendulum swings the other way.
At some point, bad news is bad news.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And I come back with that video just to make you think. And make sure you're joining the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. Also, go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And we have Circle's Jeremy O'Leary on CNBC, bringing the beast system together. And Jeremy O'Leary told us a long time ago with an interview with Brian Brooks that we're building the United States internet stablecoin, the digital dollar. And now we're seeing them bring all the big corporations, all the big tech, and all the big banks together, so therefore they can move forward in this fourth industrial revolution. And we know the sheep have no clue when they have a president and the family moving every sector of this new digital economy. You can't make it up. The sheep stay distracted on things that don't matter. And by the time they wake up, the robots, algorithms, and drones would have taken over this economy. And they'll be entering inside the metaverse. And we know that is biblical. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And then, guys, we have Jerome in the house tomorrow. And this is a big decision. Why? Because the government is closed. And everybody's pricing in at least a 25 basis point cut. And he does have the room to make the cut. And then also, we know that they have to refinance trillions and trillions of dollars by year end. But he's making this cut with no official data. But we do have these corporations keep laying off while the earnings keep going up, the stock keeps going up. And again, the people are sheep, so no one's holding them accountable. The days of unions putting pressure on these corporations, that is over. We have companies at $4 trillion market cap. It is unbelievable. And we know when it comes to history, you don't want to fall on the wrong side. This technology is definitely going to transform the workforce, and that's the reason why it's so important for you to get back to the creator, so therefore you can start creating. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And we have Trump supposed to be meeting with G. And if you listen to CNBC, the administration will give a discount to tariffs if they curb the inflow of fentanyl chemicals. Now, guys, why wouldn't they put an end to it the same way they said they're putting an end to Venezuela and these ships? It's all the Hegelian dialectic. We know the banks are the biggest what? I'll let you finish that. But we know there is no deal when it comes to China and U.S. They're going as two separate different ways. Eventually, the two superpowers are going to collide, and this was planned a long time ago. So therefore, they can bring in this new fourth industrial revolution while the people are distracted with the drums are beating. They're going to be bringing all this technology in to replace humanity with all this technology. But humanity is going to beg for the solution. Remember, it's problem, reaction, solution. And that solution was ready 20, 30 years ago. Where the robots, algorithms, and drones take over the economy, pay each other with crypto, and the sheep go inside the metaverse. And remember, the Crypto Teacher tells you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
I
actually agree with the conclusion of Steve's survey, and I also think very strongly that not only will the Fed cut 100 basis points in the months immediately ahead, but that it should. So for me, the numbers are the same. Will they and should they? And I think they should get down to about 3%, 100 basis points south of where we are, reflecting both the macro as well as what's going on in the market. From the macro perspective, clearly we've seen softening in the labor market, and we can talk about the reasons, but the bottom line is the labor market has softened, and we have downside risks there. So the Fed, from a risk management perspective, should not be restrictive. It should be neutral. So I think that's the bottom line on the macro. And from the marketplace, the Treasury market, the SOFR market, has already discounted a 3% policy rate. So the Fed needs to validate what the market has already discounted in order to sustain the financial conditions, which are easier, but are easier on the presumption that the Fed's going to cut 100 basis points. So I think we have things in a pretty nice alignment right now.
Welcome back. Amazon says it will be eliminating thousands of corporate jobs as it looks to further invest in AI. Our Mackenzie Sigalos has more on the areas of the business that'll be most affected. Morning, Mac.
Hey, good morning, Carl. So this is the latest chapter in Amazon's multi-year efficiency drive, which is largely focused on hollowing out layers of middle management. Now, the company is cutting 14,000 white-collar jobs, or about 4% of its corporate workforce, with layoffs hitting teams across the business. Employees in its video games, grocery, HR, comms, ads, and devices units were informed of cuts early this morning, but layoffs are expected to touch nearly every area of the business. Amazon's HR chief also suggesting in a blog post this morning that more job cuts are coming through 2026. And if the total hits 30,000, as Reuters reports, this would be the largest corporate layoff in Amazon's history. Now, the company says it is streamlining to move faster and shifting resources to its biggest bets. And right now, that means data centers, chips, and the infrastructure needed to compete in those hyperscaler wars. It's all part of a broader reckoning across the Mag 7. Tech giants are pouring billions into AI while quietly acknowledging that they'll need fewer workers to sustain that growth. Meta's year of efficiency has become an industry blueprint. You've got Google cutting 35% of small team managers in the last year. Microsoft shed 15,000 roles this summer alone. And then Amazon CEO Andy Jassy, he said this June the generative AI will shrink their headcount. Since 2022, Amazon has already cut more than 27,000 jobs, and it's now on pace to spend more than $120 billion just this year on CapEx to compete in those cloud wars. And then in the background, internal documents showing Amazon plans to automate 75% of its operations by 2033, potentially avoiding 600,000 new warehouse hires. So, Carl, the message is clear here. AI may be boosting stocks, but it's thinning out the employment ranks.
I mean, everybody's using AI in the mix here because it sounds good. There's very little evidence that AI has taken anybody's job yet.
On possible concessions that each side might make if the U.S. and China do come to a trade deal this week. Now, officials have not confirmed these details to CNBC, but the Journal reports that the U.S. would roll back fentanyl tariffs back from 20 to as low as 10% if Beijing cracks down on exporting fentanyl precursor ingredients. The paper cites people familiar with the talks for those details. Now, the meeting between President Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping is slated for late Wednesday evening U.S. time.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leverage to technology, and I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box, provided to you by the People's Bank of China. But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting at more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Crypto Teacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 Kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, So therefore, we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the fourth industrial revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.